Well, good day, everybody. Welcome to day 14. Some of you may have noticed that my brain has been a little scrambled lately. I mentioned, I think it was yesterday, that you guys have made it to the third week. My math skills are just absolutely slipping. How how 13 days brings you to a third week, I am not sure, but I just want to congratulate you on coming to the end of the second week. And after today, we just have the conclusion of Job. So you have done well, my friends, done very well. Today, we're going to be looking at the Creator's response to Job. And I have heard it said in some circles that God had bullied Job in this, that he came across as a bully. But I'd put forward to you that how else would the Creator respond to a speck of dust criticizing him? This response is really a matter of helping Job to just gain a perspective, get everything back in its proper place, so that he wouldn't be lost. Because this is the big problem here, is that Job had lost his perspective on what was going on, what was important, where he fit into the scheme of creation, where the Creator is, and so as you read this, um, don't don't take the perspective that God is overdoing this. Let's I'm not going to share any scripture. I'm not going to go over any of this with you. Well, there's the disclaimer, so you do what you want with that. Um, I'm not going to go into the specifics, because you can read the specifics for yourself. But I do want to touch on some things here that, as you read through, that you can consider, because our whole relationship with Creator is very, very important. It's vital. It is the most important thing in all of your life. So one of the things that we need to deal with in ourselves is just how big God is. We have to get to a place in our world outlook, in our understanding of where we are in the universe. We have to get to a place where we allow God to be big, grand, enormous. No such word. I'm trying to come up with a word to describe a God that is indescribable. A grand, enormous. He's beyond our imagination and thinking. He is beyond us to be able to conceive, to be able to have even I mean, we can have the remotest concept of him, but that's only helped by what he tells us himself. And we have to get into a place, then, a relationship of trust. Do we trust what he says about himself? When we look around, is this what we see? Do we see what he says about himself in evidence, in creation, in the things that we've observed about him? These are the things that we have to draw a conclusion. Um, Now we can say that we don't make him small. We can say this, but see, it's the natural danger of our intimacy with him, of being familiar with him. Um, he has created us for this intimacy. We're supposed to have this intimacy, but at the same time that we are supposed to maintain this understanding of his largeness, this understanding of his glory, this understanding of his holiness, of his righteousness, of yes, of his love, of that vastness. Not just the size of him, but the size of who he is. We talk about love, but that okay, so here's the problem. In this intimate relationship we have, where we get to hang out with him all day long, where we have access to him anytime we want. We don't have to wait to go to a temple. We don't have to give things to a high priest who can only go into the presence like once a year, and even then be filled with trepidation. And we don't have that. We have this incredible, beautiful, familiar relationship we have with him. I was challenged once because I like to use his name. I like to use his name Yahweh because when we use God, God's like a title. God, every religion uses the title God for the supposed deity that they worship. So I like to use his name because he gave us his name. He just said, "Don't abuse my name," and the Israelites who came before us, um, they just had such a reverence for him, a beautiful reverence because they only knew him as the creator. They didn't know him in the way that Jesus has revealed him to us. And but their whole understanding is awesome, and we want to stand on their shoulders, in this place of intimacy. We don't want to lose what they came to know, but we want to go beyond. We want to go further. Um, so in this place of intimacy, then like being I didn't want to refer to him as God and always say Lord because Lord really refers back to the idea of creator. It is a substitute for his name being Yahweh. And since our God has a name, I want to call him by name. And so I will write about Yahweh, I'll reference Yahweh. And somebody wrote me and challenged me on that. And he said, you seem to be, aren't you afraid of being too familiar with the use of his name? And I wrote back and I said, this is the one who went to the cross for me, who laid down his life for me so that I could come into this intimate relationship with him. I think he would prefer that I would call him by his name. And they wrote back and said, a fair point, because it is. Yeah, we're called into this, but there's also that fear of the Lord aspect, that awe, that inspiring thing, where intimacy, the danger of it will be to make him as small as we are, but our worship of him. See that you can't lose the worship. Our worship of him, our praise of him, is to maintain his grandness, to maintain the largeness of his glory. Because this intimacy, as I have here, this intimacy should actually convince us of how huge he is, just of how huge he is, bigger than any problem or challenge that we could ever face, bigger than our life. If we really understood the largeness of our God, there is nothing that we would be afraid of. Now, obviously, it's more than just his largeness. It's who he is. It's his love. It's his love for us. But it's not a small love. You got to understand that the Bible refers to it like a cascade. It's like Niagara Falls being poured over us. It's just it's huge, and we've got to stop seeing it as this little trickle that comes down, this little drip, drip, drip. It's not. It's this magnificent Niagara Falls being dumped over us. This is his affection for us. This is his intimacy for us. This is his love, his mercy, his compassion, his forgiveness, just pouring over us. Um, some of the songs of the saints that have gone before us refer to God's love, a great ocean, the great ocean of his love, the great ocean of his love. Yeah. So the problem, though, is because we're people who like to handle things. Or people who like to compartmentalize things. We like to break things down in bite-sized pieces that we can handle. His largeness, his greatness makes our brain hurt. See, this largeness, the effect of this largeness should naturally move us to a place of trust, should move us in this relationship, that when we realize just how big he is, it's like a 2-year-old, 3-year-old. Daddy's big enough to protect me from anything. When that 2, 3-year-old is scared in their room, They're crying out for mommy or daddy because they're big. They can protect them from anything. Um, and this is what understanding so it should move us to this place of trust. That's where it should be. And that can be a problem too, because trust is not an easy thing for us. I mean, just look around at what's happening in the world right now. A lot of it is because of distrust. Some of it is because some some political parties, some political people have mishandled the trust of the people, and so now there's a distrust for that institution of politics, and we're seeing this groundswell, just this movement to throw off. I mean, there have been abuses, there have been things that are wrong, but is it worth tearing down these institutions? That's a question. So this is natural to us to find it difficult to trust, and we don't want the sense of losing control, and that's what it is to have a relationship with God, is to lose control. And this is, yeah, this is where um, this is why the creator is dealing with Job in this way, because Job was struggling with this trust. He he did not trust the creator, to believe the creator had this, that this was in his hands, that something was going to happen with this, that he just calls out to him and say, I don't know what's going on, but my eyes are on you. I don't know what to do, but I'm leaning on you. I don't know where this is going, but I trust that you have my days in your hands. That kind of attitude is what Job was failing in. So in comes the creator, and he does this. He opens this up. He makes it big. He makes it big, and in making it big, it kind of makes Job small. It's not for the purpose of making Job feel insignificant, but it's to help Job understand that if God has all this knowledge, if he has put all these things in place, if he cares for all of this, then Job and the small thing that he's facing, because in comparison to everything, it's really small, that he's got him, that he's got him. And honestly, as we read through this, what what does anyone know of how the Creator put everything together, put everything into place? How do we know that? Like, you could just say that, well, gravity is a law of nature, but who made it a law of nature? Well, in order for things to function, in order for the universe to be what it is, the law of gravity had to be put in place. But it is our creator who created the law of gravity, so everything could have its function. You see what I mean? And gravity is just one tiny small aspect of the many laws of nature that in place that makes life possible. He did all that. He gave everything its function. And as he explains this to Job, then Job should be encouraged by this. There should be an encouragement that if the creator of all things, who has put all this in place and is taking care of all of this, also has me in his hands, man, I got nothing to be afraid of. And that's why Paul says that he's absolutely convinced that nothing can separate us from the love of Christ. When he has demonstrated, I mean, when the creator of all things has demonstrated in the love in the manner that he demonstrated it, I mean, him being all powerful and almighty and all knowing is one thing, but knowing how much he loves us and being all those things, I mean, who can be against us? If God is for us, who can be against us? Yeah, let it sink in. Compared to where Job was in this point in history, although he did have some early understanding of the nature of things that it took science a long time to catch up with. Even though he may have had this, he had nothing compared to the level of knowledge that we have, the level of understanding we have now. But it's the wonder that has been put into place and the function of each part of it. I mean, natural science, the study of natural science is just, it's fascinating and it's mind boggling. As when you begin to study each of the creatures and see, yeah, what their function is in the ecosystem, how they fit into things, what is dependent on them, what they are dependent upon. When you see the whole scheme, when you see all these things fall into place, and you realize just how fragile everything is and how important everything is in that, it's just mind boggling. If you just consider our immune system, just our immune system, and how a healthy one protects us against so many enemies in the hostile environment of a fallen creation, there's so many things that want to kill us. There are so many things that are our enemy. I mean, if you've known anything about some of the science fiction writers, something like War of the Worlds, that points out so well. In comes these creatures from another planet to take over our planet, but they have no adaptation. They have no immunity, protection from the diseases that we don't even think about a lot of the times now. If you consider COVID, here's a disease that wants to kill us, and and we have science. If it ran the natural course over a period of time, over many years, after a lot of deaths, our immune system would adapt to that. And now we have science because we're smart, and we have science that has a way of creating vaccines that helps, that augments our immune system, the system that God has created us, because we have come to understand how these systems work. But that doesn't mean that the system it doesn't have mysteries, and it's mind-boggling, and it's just an incredible thing that has been given to us to protect us from the enemies in this planet. And there are still things, because it's a fallen creature, still diseases that want to destroy us. Still diseases that want to destroy us. Yet the vastness of all of creation is so great, our minds can't grasp the size of it. I mean, you mathematically, you can sit down and look at the numbers. And I mean, we don't even know where this ends. We have no idea how big it is. We have guesstimations. We have you know, intelligent guesses, but they're guesses. We have no idea the limits of the universe. We have no idea how big this thing is. We don't know. So our minds can't even grasp it, other than some mathematical number. We just have nothing to compare. Even just our own little solar system here, the size of it. I mean, when you consider the size of the sun, man, we hardly know anything here compared to all of this. Hardly know anything. So we're trying to understand the universe when we don't even have the capacity to explore the depths of our oceans. We probably already have more information about the universe, about things off of this planet, than we have about our own oceans, how our oceans function, what's found in them. There's still species that we're discovering. We haven't gone to depths. We can't go to the depths. We can't discover what's down there because the pressures would kill us. We don't have the technology yet to be able to withstand. We can withstand the emptiness of space, but we can't withstand the pressures of our own oceans. That's just amazing, isn't it? Great parts of our oceans remain a mystery to us. We don't even fully understand the ecosystem of this planet. So when we stop and consider the greatness, the details, the complexities, the vastness of the big and small, we can begin to appreciate that the Creator is so much more than the sum total of all of this. He is beyond us fully knowing Him. Sorry, He is beyond us fully knowing about Him. But He has invited us to know Him in relationship so that we know that He is good and that He loves us. Because if we're faced just with His vastness, just with how big He is, just how immense, man, all we're left with is fear. But if in relationship these things are being revealed to us, in relationship we have the knowledge that He is good. And in relationship we have the knowledge that He loves us. And the testimony about His goodness in our life, of His love in our life. Man. And this is what Job is being faced with. This is what the Creator is doing. Giving him that opportunity. Letting him see. Getting himself into that position. And he still has more. There's still a bit more before we get to the end of it, before things are dealt with, before he is restored. There's still more to be revealed to him. Because this is important for Job. It's important that he realize where he went wrong and what he was supposed to do. He did not do anything wrong before he faced these hardships. What he did wrong was not facing them in a position of trust. And that's what we all get to face and deal with. So tonight, if you have the opportunity, which if you live in Quebec, you really don't because you're curfew now, but I was going to suggest go out to a place where you have a clear view of the night sky and stand under the stars. And begin to understand the vastness of our God. We can't even grasp the vastness of what He has created, let alone how big He is. But you can understand His love, and you can come to appreciate that He is good. So you guys be blessed today. Have a great and encouraging day. And I pray that God, Yahweh, our Father, our Lord Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit, will continue to reveal Himself to you. God bless.